We're back.
Uh, Back at it again.
Assalamu alaikum, son.
Walaikum salam, pops. What's going on?
Ain't nothing much, brother. Ain't nothing much. Just here at Tags Healthy Wellness Living, serving that tea and healthy nutrition shake. How about yourself? What you doing?
You know me. Always trying to look for the next opportunity, getting business done, making music, performing, keeping myself busy, if anything else. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of TwoTreys Podcast.
TwoTreys.
Can't believe it. We're already here. We're on episode 5.
5 in the house. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Been every day this week, man, right?
Yeah. It's coming along well, I think. What you think, Pop?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Getting used to it, getting comfortable, getting kind of addictive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Watching yourself
turn into an everyday thing, huh?
Yeah. But you know how we do it, man. You know, wherever we get on the phone, we talk to each other, you know. There's always a long-winded conversation, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what gave us the idea. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
we were just having these conversations. We were just like, well, these sound valuable. Like, let's get this out there. Let's see what people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let's tap into something, man, that hasn't been touched yet. You know, not with the father
and
son duo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, like we always do, before the beginning of our topic, before we go into our discussion with our topic for the day, we just want to put something out there.
What we do this for.
Describe what we do this for. Exactly, son.
Yes, sir.
So this channel is to inspire and bridge the gap between youth and elders, fathers and sons, perspectives of truth and falsehoods versus falsehoods, and to reflect love and peace with the black male / black community as well. Okay. So that's what our purpose is for. Just to spread the peace and bring us closer together, man. You know, that's our purpose.
Sir. All right.
So
today is February 4th. We're still in the month of Black History Month, and I think we already decided that we're just gonna do this as an everyday thing. But
everyday thing,
like I said, yeah. Pops, who's our next honorable mention for Black History Month?
Indeed, son. Our honorable mention today is by the brother named Philip Reed. Philip Reed. If you have never heard of him, R-E-I-D, you're about to learn of him right now. One of the most significant contributions by an African American slave in the construction of the Capitol was made by Philip Reed. When construction of the Capitol began in 1793, Washington, D.C. was little more than a rural landscape with dirt roads and a few accommodations beyond a small number of boarding houses. Skilled labor was hard to find or attract to the fledgling city. Enslaved laborers who were rented from their owners were involved in almost every stage of construction. Philip Reed may be the single best known enslaved person associated with the Capitol's construction history. Born around 1820, Reed was an enslaved laborer in the foundry run by the self-taught sculptor Clark Mills, who cast the Statue of Freedom. Mills was a former resident of South Carolina, where he had purchased Reed in Charleston for $1,200. Mills stated he purchased Reed many years ago when he was quite a youth, because of his evident talent for the business in which your petitioner was engaged, and paid $1,200 for him. Mills brought Reed with him when he moved to Washington in the late 1840s, when Mills won the competition for an equestrian statue of Andrew Jackson commissioned for Lafayette Park. In order to construct the Jackson statue, a temporary foundry was erected south of the White House, and through trial and error, Mills, Reed, and other workmen produced the first bronze statue ever cast in America. The accomplishment was extraordinary due to the absence of any formal training of any of the participants. In 1860, the success of the Jackson statue prompted the Secretary of War to give Mills the commission for casting Thomas Crawford's Statue of Freedom.
And pause, let me stop you right there real quick.
Oh yeah, sure.
I just want to just make a transition. So I've had his picture pulled up for just a minute.
Okay.
And you were going on to speak on the Statue of Freedom on top of the Capitol building. I just wanted to pull up a picture. Please continue,
Okay.
sir.
Sounds good. Thank you. A financial agreement was reached whereby the government would rent Mills' foundry, pay him $400 a month for his services, and pay for necessary materials and labor. Reed was the only known slave working on Freedom. He worked as a laborer alongside James A. Riddle, Peter Coyle, Rezin Ofut, and Michael Sheedy. As an enslaved worker, Reed was paid directly for his work on Sundays. His owner received the payment for his work the other 6 days. He was paid $1.25 per day, higher than other laborers who received $1 a day. It says, view a daily payroll report documenting Philip Reed and other workers as Mills Foundry. See, Reed worked most weeks without a break between July 1st, 1860 and May 16th, 1861. Over that period, he was paid $41.25 for 33 Sundays at $1.25 per day. For keeping up fires under the molds, he signed with an X by his name. There are no known images of Reed. While unable to read or write, Reed was described by Mills as age 42, mulatto color, short in stature, in good health, not proposing in appearance but smart in mind, a good workman in foundry. Philip Reed received his freedom on April 16, 1862, when President Abraham Lincoln signed the Compensated Emancipation Act that released certain persons held to service or labor in the District of Columbia. It is not known if he witnessed the event, but Reed was a free man when the last piece of the Statue of Freedom was put into place atop the Capitol dome on December 2nd, 1863. Philip Reed, we salute you.
Yes, sir.
Philip Reed.
Thank you for everything you've done, Philip Reed.
Yes,
again, his was the construction of the Statue of Freedom, which today still sits on top of the Capitol.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and get into the next topic, Pops. I think we'll get into the Shaq discussion, and then we'll get into our big discussion for today. How about you feel about that?
Yeah, that sounds good, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I don't know if you want to start it off with the article that you brought to my light, or we can start off from the news of yesterday. How you want to start off from the genesis, or from what we learned today, and we can backtrack.
Yeah, we can do the today thing and backtrack. That's fine.
Okay. Yep.
All
right. So our discussion is in regards to Mr. Shaquille O'Neal's comments made yesterday.
Right.
Shaquille O'Neal speaks out against vaccine mandates. He goes on to say he doesn't believe you should be forced to take something you don't want. In a small quote, in a little explanation of the actual topic, NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal publicly declared on Thursday that his opinion is that no one should be forced to take a vaccine, and hit back at a reporter who claimed that Americans are not being made to take the shots. Speaking on his podcast, so Shaquille O'Neal has his own podcast, so he made the comments on there on Thursday. He says, "Look, I encourage everyone to be safe and take care of your family. I do. But there are still some people that don't want to take it, and you shouldn't have to be forced to take something you don't want." When his CBS reporter guest, Nichelle Turner, tried to argue that vaccine mandates do not constitute forcing people to take the shots, O'Neal disagreed. I want to focus on that part because he is saying that he disagrees with the vaccine mandates.
Oh, really?
He goes on to say it is forced because
right.
If the man don't take it, the man gonna get fired. End quote. He goes on also to say that I'm gonna probably get in trouble for this, says Shaquille O'Neal, suggesting a hypothetical situation where a fictional co-worker of ET or Entertainment Tonight co-host Turner is ordered to get vaccinated. So he's giving an example of essentially a case of this situation happening, being mandated to get vaccinated. Shaq states that Say Nichelle, your sound guy at ET's been working there for 10 years. That job is all he knows. Let's just say ET puts out a new policy. If you don't get the vaccination, you're going to lose your job, O'Neal says, adding that he believes it is not just for the people to have chosen. It is not just for people to have choose between their livelihoods and going against their morals. And the very last comment I want to get into that Shaquille O'Neal says is, I'm with you on the rules because I'm a rules guy. O'Neal adds that, but I do feel sympathetic towards people who have to make that kind of decision. His correspondent goes on to say, I don't. And she also goes on to say, not when you're putting other people at risk. So essentially in this article, and on his podcast on Thursday, Shaquille O'Neal is making a verbal defense against having people get mandated to take the vaccine.
Or the
when it comes to
remember, sir, we gotta quote our words.
Right. Interesting. So for the jab, in their place of business or at the company they work for, the reason why we're focusing on this topic specifically is because you pointed out to me there's actually a contradiction that you found out in the words of Shaquille. So if you want to speak on that real quick, and I can actually pull up the video of it, but if you just want to touch base on what you heard about it.
I think it was about a month ago. Shaq had expressed some words or his opinion about Kyrie, the great Kyrie Irving, not being jabbed, and he was in totally disagreement with the Brooklyn Nets organization allowing our brother Kyrie to play in away games, but our brother Shaq expressed his adamant, opinion, response to not allowing Kyrie, who is not jabbed, to play, and that he would put hands on him if he was in the locker room with Kyrie. So I'm quite confused, brother Shaq. You sound like you are contradicting yourself from being for the jabs to citizens, to now saying that you don't feel like it's a requirement for or he's not in the agreement for it to be forced. But you made a point just last month that unless Kyrie took the jab, that he should be off the team. So I think that's right. Kind of like a forceful, approach at the same time.
And let's pull up Shaq's own comments.
Oh yeah. Definitely do that. We don't want to put words in anybody's mouth.
The viewers, no. So the viewers know exactly where you're coming from.
All right. We're live right now. TwoTreys Podcast, episode 5.
Yep, you're tuned in on TwoTreys Podcast. Real quick before I pull up the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It helps the algorithm a lot. So if you support the channel, go ahead and do that. Also, we have our donations tab in the description box below the video. So if you just go ahead and it would option for you to leave a donation of any kind, of any size. $1 to $1 million show you love regardless. All right, so I'll go ahead and pull up that video.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Kyrie Irving.
Fair
So we
use.
got
Fair
news
use.
that
Fair use.
okay, here we go. Kyrie testing, come back. He's gonna
Yes, sir.
be a part-time player. He's gonna play in the road games, except for Toronto and I believe LA. He's gonna play in New York. And as soon as he got back in, he went into COVID protocols. Jack, you've been saying they need to get rid of him. So what do you think about this development?
I hate when people make a big stand about what they're going to do. Oh, Kyrie, if you're not all in, don't even come. Right?
Hold on, you made a big stand about what they should do. Get him out of there.
That's what they should.
Okay.
I don't stand by that. I tell them that to his face. But I'm saying the Brooklyn Nets organization,
Right.
You want to be all in, blah, 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 blah. Don't even come around. Now, since the COVID thing come up and a couple of guys are out, we'll let you play, Mr. Kyrie. You can do that, Kyrie. I don't respect that, but I don't want to keep mad.
Do you think they panicked?
Of course they panicked.
Okay.
You know what? They panicked for no reason. Because they sound like they're number 7 in the league. You're in first place, dummies. You don't need them.
Do you think KD went to them and said, get him back?
I don't know.
There were reports out that the communication between KD and Kyrie had ramped up considerably in days before.
If you say you're my guy and you don't sacrifice like I sacrifice, I'll question you as being my guy.
I hear you.
I understand what you're saying, but it ain't about you.
How do you prepare to be a part-time player?
I don't know. No practice. Listen, I've never seen it done. They get it done. It's going to set a bad precedent around the league.
Yeah.
He didn't have to practice or play a home game, play on the road. Okay. Let me tell you something. I'll take that deal right now for the Atlanta Hawks. I'll play in Atlanta.
All right. So Shaq, speaking with the same co-host essentially, Nichelle Turner. So in that clip right there, which came out, I think you said a month ago, Shaq was stating that he believes that when you record, essentially, it was specifically talking about Kyrie, that Kyrie should get vaccinated because his team has it required as a mandate. And so the issue is, like literally yesterday, you're saying people shouldn't get jab per the mandate of your company that you work for.
Right.
So which one is it, Shaq?
I mean, it
can't be
like
both.
From both sides of your neck, brother. I'm lost. I'm confused, Shaq. What's going on? Zaire, shout out. Says these dudes are puppets. They're not human. Yeah. It sounds like somebody has some strings attached to you, and you just going along like I gotta use the quote that or the term that Kwame used. Go along, get along, gang. I mean, that's what it sounds.
I mean, I understand that, but you know what I'm saying. It looks like he's contradicting himself. So it's kind of hard to understand where his stance is if he's taking two different stances in the same situation.
Right.
The characters in the narrative are different. We're talking about Kyrie specifically, and then on Thursday he was just talking about I'm assuming the American people in general, but it's still the same situation. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't believe the American people are required to get vaccinated, and you're in defense saying that I believe that jab. Right. I believe that the American people shouldn't be required to be jabbed if they don't want it. You should have that same sentiment towards Kyrie as well. So I think Shaq should We need some clarity on where
we
you
need some huge clarity, brother.
Right.
And to even say that he would tell Kyrie to his face, you know, I understand why you said it, but not all things are meant to be said, especially in the type of tone that he said that. You know, nobody is ever going to confront Shaq on how they feel about the things that Shaq say, right? Because nobody can actually look at him eye to eye. Shaq is 7 feet tall, 300 plus pound giant. You know what I mean? So why would anybody approach Shaq about what they feel in their heart that should happen to him? So I don't think he's ever going to get the approach of somebody's going to say something to his face because they have expressed difference of opinion. So Shaq shouldn't have to say something like that. That sounds more of a confrontational. I will confront you with what I say and dare you to say something else. You know what I mean? Like some things you just didn't have to. I don't think he needed to say that because that's taking it to another level. Now, if you just want to express your opinion, then that's fair. You know what I mean? But now it's almost like, yo, Shaq, man, you ain't gotta try to bully nobody. Like, why do you have to come out of your mouth and say that? It's like something else that he said as far as like putting his hands on another player, on a teammate. I think that was, I think he was talking about Ben Simmons. And he was talking about putting his hands on him. Yo, Shaq, man, why does everything gotta be so physical with you, brother? You a huge man. You know everybody is like this to you. So to me, it's just like, you know, you're trying to use your size to bully your opinion on others. That's just my thought.
All right.
You know. What's up, son? Son number 3. He says, Zaire, he says he wasn't plugged into the Matrix. He was offset when he made this comment.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, was Zaire
interesting,
saying,
son? Yeah.
He went off script.
He went off script, right? But,
I mean, and this is exactly this proves exactly the issue with the mainstream media. Essentially, is it forces its constituents,
TwoTreys,
right? It forces the people that they put in front of the people to speak on situations, to speak on their narrative, and not speak from how they actually feel about it. So.
Right.
What happens, you know what I'm saying, when you're essentially lying, right?
Yeah.
Especially when someone else is lying. You're lying for somebody else. Oh my gosh. I don't know about anybody else out there. I'm sure y'all do. If you've run into a situation where someone's lying for somebody else, or you've been put in that situation where you're lying for someone, oh my gosh, it's so easy for your actual own truth to come out, you know? So I think this is a clear example of Shaq again getting off the not reading off the teleprompter, right? Exactly. So I just believe, you know, just stand and this goes back to the jab mandate anyways, where you have the issue of, are people allowed to stand by their own morals and beliefs? Or do we have to conform to what the populace opinion is at the time? My stance on that is always go by your own values, morals, beliefs, and traditions. I don't care if it's just you against the whole world. But you gotta stand. You gotta stand on your own truths. At least that way, you know what I'm saying, people will disagree with you, then that's fine. I don't, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't have a problem with people disagreeing with you, but at least that way they can respect your point of view. In contrary to this, where you have someone that is essentially I wouldn't say coerce, but is like people in the mainstream media are paid essentially to program. They're programmed to say things that they don't believe in themselves. And when people find out that you're doing that, their respect level for you drops. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I agree with you, son. You know, you definitely can't enforce or force your opinion on others, man. That's the beautiful thing about having a separate mind from other people. You know what I mean? When we get short, when we do things the wrong way, is when we try to inflict, enforce, you know, throw down somebody's throat our opinion to make them believe in our so-called truth. You know what I mean? And that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And you can come across as arrogant and having a lack of respect for your fellow citizen or fellow brother or sister who just thinks other than you do, which is fine. You know what I mean? But, you know, going back to the Shaq thing, you know, because this topic, you know, being jabbed and not getting jabbed and new facts started to become more exposed, and being that now that they are finding out that maybe this jab wasn't, you know, what it was meant to do. So there will be some sort of, you know, retribution, regret on a lot of people's part for taking a specific part or taking a specific side without knowing all facts of this so-called jab, I would just say. But you know, we have to learn, and we just have to be open-minded, man. To just sometimes, you know, if you don't know something the full nature of it, just be quiet and listen to somebody who did the research or did the fact-checking, and just listen. You know, learn to accept something for what it is, and if you don't find it to be necessary for you to remember or for you to accept, just walk away. That's all. You know?
Word. Now, Pops, I got a question for you, because this is actually dealing with what we're talking about. So essentially, the issue is specifically when you're already working for a company, right?
Right.
And that company adds a new policy. While you've been working there, you've already been working there, let's say a year, 3 years, 10 years, whatever. And they add a new policy that goes against your morals, beliefs, and traditions. One, is the company allowed to do that in the first place? And then secondly, are they allowed to fire people or discipline people based on new rules that they pass after hiring that said person? If you want to touch on those.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to it directly and personally, because my job, which I chose to go to work at a certain point after I opened up this business, because I work with mental health and people with mental health issues. I enjoy working with mental health individuals. So they stated to me that at first I was just taking weekly tests for the virus, and it turned into then now I had to take the actual jab in order to continue my services there. So I refused, and in refusing, they forced me to resign, not fire me. I had to write a letter specifying that I am resigning from my position. Now, why did they do that? Well, because if they would have fired me, I would have they protecting themselves because I would have went ahead and filed for unemployment. But
correct. So for people out there that don't know, I just want to make this interjection.
Right.
So essentially, this is a little bit of financial help. Whenever you get in a pickle. So if you lose your job, right? The only way you guys can file unemployment is if that job lays you off, / fires you, or another way is if they take you off the schedule. So if you're not, they didn't, you know what I'm saying, come to you and say we're firing you or we need a letter of resignation, but so like you're not on the schedule anymore. That way you'll be able to at least file for unemployment until your next opportunity, because they're really strict about it. So if you you know what I'm saying, quit, put in your 2 weeks notice, things to that, the chance for getting unemployment it's just it doesn't qualify essentially. I'm just speaking on that because we're, you know what I'm saying, we're in our time right now where a lot of people are losing their jobs, whether it be just quitting because the pay is not what it's supposed to be, the policies, the new policies that have been implemented since the pandemic has started. Just some financial advice because I know it's hard out here during this pandemic. Yeah, I just wanted to make that quick interjection, Pops. You can go ahead and continue.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's good information, son. But like I said, yeah, so after I resigned, you know, that was it. So go back to the original question is, you know, can they do that? Well, yeah. You know what I mean? Whether they can do it and it, you know, be legal, possibly, I would say they can because it was done. You know what I mean? The ramifications as far as legal matters, that I'm not a lawyer, so, you know, whether or not there's a lawsuit I can file, because being that now that the mandates are being opposed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe Biden hasn't been able to pass not one mandate, which he said in the beginning that he wasn't going to mandate it, but that's another story. So the situation now is nobody's passing it, right? So now it's off the table, right? My job should be calling me. Like, hey, Trace, you know, sorry, but we don't have to enforce the mandate any longer because one, it wasn't a law anyway, you know what I mean? And two, it was just something that we thought we should have done, but being that now all the mandates are being whacked off the table and not picked up to be passed, why don't you come on back? That's okay. I'm just utilizing my services elsewhere. But you know what I mean? It's yes, they can legally, who knows, but morally it's dead wrong. Pardon me. Dead wrong.
Right. So yeah, I just feel about it like, of course, so we live in a free market, we live in a capitalist society, so everyone has a freedom of choice, from the corporation down to the employers. So the corporations have the freedom to implement new policies, and then the employee has the options to work where they choose to work. So in the saying that, like you were speaking of, your company that you were working for at the time, it implemented a new policy / mandate. Luckily, we live in a free market society. You have the option, the choice to continue working for that company and follow that mandate / policy, or look for new employment, a new opportunity. So guys, I say that to say all jobs are temporary. So when you're working for a company and that company's environment, policy, or anything stops benefiting you, you have the freedom to leave. Please don't please don't stay at a job that you don't want to be at no more. Because I mean, a lot of us work in the service industry, and you're dealing with other people. The worst person to deal with at a company is the person that don't want to be there. So just leave and find somewhere that suits you. You know, I promise you, there's a company out there that will love to take you on. Worst case scenario, if you can't find that company yourself, make it yourself. To the second part of that, yes sir. To the second part of that, what was I saying about the mandates was
you just doing it about creating a job for yourself. If you
right.
don't wanna...
I threw those two questions at you. So I answered the first question. The second, what was the second question? You remember?
No, I can't remember.
So yeah, I mean, so yeah, I like I said, in the case of Kyrie, more power to him. We're all free individuals at the end of the day, and we can make opinions on what people do, but again, you're accountable for what you say. So just keep that in mind when you're commenting on things, Shaq.
Right, and you only speaking for, when people speak their opinion, they're actually speaking for themselves. It's what I would do if I was in that situation. You know what I mean? So we all know, Shaq, if you was in that situation, you would have said, okay, here's my arm, without any hesitation. We all know, because that's what you did. Now, because somebody didn't do the same thing you did, don't beat them up. You know what I mean? Don't confront them with your opinion about them not doing what you would have done. That's unnecessary. You know what I mean? Certain things you don't have to confront somebody. You can you could call them. Yeah, hey, look, yo, you know what I mean? I don't think you should not get jabbed. I think you should get jabbed. Why don't you call him and tell him? You know what I mean? Don't confront him in his face. I tell him in his face. Damn. You ain't gotta tell me in my face, man. You know what I mean? It ain't that serious. You know what I mean? It's my body, please, by all means.
All right. Just before we get into the big discussion of today, actually, I just want to say again, you guys are tuned into TwoTreys podcast.
TwoTreys?
Yes, sir. So we try to be as interactive as possible as a platform. So we would love it if you guys would go ahead and leave a comment in the comments box below, and you know what I'm saying, we'll definitely post your comment on the live feed.
Interact
as well
with
as show
you
love.
too. Join it.
Exactly.
Add on a conversation.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. We'll definitely do that. So yeah, leave a like, comment. Please subscribe as well to the channel. We will be going live for the majority of our videos, if not all of them. So to be on top of the game on when we actually go live, if you want to watch it live, it'll also be up on YouTube as well. So you can always go back and watch a previous a live video, because we do post them afterwards. But if you want to catch the action live, the best way to do that would be to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And so that your YouTube notifications will notify you when we go live. So you'll be tuned in and not miss anything. Also, we have the donations tab below. So if you click the description box, you'll be able to donate to the channel and show your support. All right, so going into the big discussion of today, we'll probably actually make it the title of the video.
Drum roll.
Is forgiveness. Is it something that should always be welcomed? Forgiveness. Is it something that should always be welcomed? Pops, if you wanna.
Well, you know me, man. The first and foremost thing that we should always do is define the words. let's define the word forgiveness. Son,
Yes, sir.
take it away.
Give me 2 seconds. See what Mr. Webster has to say.
Good old Webster. Because everybody has their own definition of what forgiveness is. So let's just make sure we are tackling the proper context of what this definition is supposed to be applied. What we got?
All right. From Webster, it says to forgive is a verb.
Okay.
Other conjugations of that word are forgiving, forgiven, forgive, forgave, forgiven. The definition: to stop feeling anger toward someone who has done something wrong. To stop blaming. Another definition of that word is to stop feeling anger about something, to forgive someone for something that they did wrong. Also, a quick financial definition is to stop requiring payment of money that is owed.
Okay. Like forgiving a debt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, let's touch on a few things. In my belief,
forgiveness is it something that should be welcomed?
Yes and no. I will go to the no part. The no part comes when
So when is forgiveness not welcomed?
When it's based on the individual who's seeking the forgiveness, their time. I do something wrong to you, and then I turn around and dictate to you how long you should be upset with me. Understand?
All right.
I can't do that. I can't control the time frame in which I'm seeking somebody's forgiveness from what I did to them wrong. That's one. Two is the person who inflicted whatever pain onto the other individual. Are they truly sorry for what they've done? Or do they just want the words of forgiveness to be said to them so that they can feel better about what they did? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know how you can really determine if somebody is truly sorry for what they've done just by saying.
I have the answer for you.
Well, we'll just finish it. It also goes into the action. You know what I mean? Am I, other than saying I'm sorry, am I trying to make amends for what I've done? Am I trying to make the situation better on the physicality sense? You know what I mean? So verbally, I can verbally say something, and that's only attaching to the emotional side, right? And / the spiritual side. I'm saying these words so I can emotionally make you feel at ease with me because I don't want you upset with me. So I'm just going to say these words just so the anger can subside that you have. I may not mean it, but I'm just saying it just so the emotional side can be less. You understand? That is to me when forgiveness is not welcome. Okay? Again, when it's dictated or predicated on somebody else's time and when it's not genuine.
All right. And I want to touch on that part specifically. So I feel a lot of people have an issue with coming across genuine or you know what I'm saying, you know, they want to apologize and they do that, but in the way in which they apologize, doesn't get the results they want.
Right.
And I think that's from a lack of education on in part on how to apologize in the first place. I don't think a lot of people truly understand verbal part of apologizing. But I'm here to help. I know exactly how to tell someone how to apologize, that you're asking for the forgiveness.
Make it plain.
It's an acronym. It's an acronym, Pops. It's in YouTube. It's AER. AER. Yes, sir.
What's that?
AER is acknowledge, empathize, reassure. So anytime, and this goes for anytime you are looking for someone's forgiveness, and anytime someone comes to you with a issue, and this is the proper way to verbally de-escalate the issue and resolve it. So AER is the way to go about it. And the first word is acknowledge. Acknowledge is essentially, I come to you and I tell you, yo, I don't like the way you talk to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? The way you talk to me, I don't like it. I need you to talk to me better. Make me the way you make me feel when you talk to me, it doesn't make me feel good. All right. My job to you as the person that wants your forgiveness is to acknowledge what the issue is in the first place and how to properly do that. So you need to be able to acknowledge what that person issue is, and you do that essentially by saying back to them what they told you their issue was. So for the example that we're using, I told you, yo, I don't like the way you talk to me. I want you to talk to me better. Your response to that, if you want if we're going about this route, is acknowledge what I said. So you say, oh man, Trey, damn, I talked to you bad? I didn't even notice. And I didn't realize it was making you feel this type of way.
Right.
What I just did was acknowledge what the issue was. Step 2 is to empathize.
Now, before you go in the empathy part.
Yes, sir.
In that feeling, this is where we get into trouble. I can't dispute how you felt. Okay?
All right.
I can't say, oh no, you didn't feel bad when I said it that way.
Right.
How can you argue a person's feeling? It's that person's feeling.
Exactly.
You can only accept.
You can't argue their feeling and then go on to apologize. So like you're saying, oh, I didn't do that, but I'm sorry. No, you're not. How can you be sorry? You're not even. You know what I'm saying? You're not even taking into account my feelings. And so that leads on to the empathy side. So you need to be able to empathize with that person's issue. So if I come to you and I say, Pops, I don't like the way you talk to me, it makes me feel bad. Your an appropriate response to that would be, when it comes to
son,
empathy.
I didn't know I made you feel that way, son. I'm sorry.
Just an example, Pops. Would be essentially, hey Trey, yo, if you were talking to me the way in which you're saying I've been talking to you, it'd make me feel bad as well, and I wouldn't like it either. So essentially, what you're doing is empathizing with me, and this is us. You've acknowledged what I've said, and now you're empathizing with me. All right. So, in those two steps are the verbal, right?
Right.
So that's the I'm sorry with words. And this part is with words too, but this is the next step. This is the step right before actually taking the action, and that one is reassure. Reassure is essentially letting that person know the issue that they came to you with you're gonna resolve,
Right.
and that in future instances, they can be certain that that issue that they originally came with you with will not be a problem in the future. So,
Okay.
for the example that we've been using, Pops, I come to you, I say, Pops, I don't like the way you're talking to me, it makes me feel bad. In the part of reassurance, an appropriate response from you would be, Trey, in the future, I will make sure that when I speak to you, I'm speaking to you with respect, and making sure I don't offend you, and essentially do my best to make sure you don't feel bad. And so with that right there, that's the contract. That's the place where the person that you're talking to that came to you with the issue has something tangible, right?
Right.
And what's tangible is I have your word that my issue is going to be solved. So now that person has the ability to observe if you're going to take, if you're taking this apology seriously, if their issue is going to be resolved, because you decided to AER, you decided to acknowledge my issue, you decided to empathize with me, you decided to reassure me that it won't happen in the future. And so now we're both on the same accord of understanding. And so in the future, if the issue doesn't occur anymore, the person that came to you with the issue now has the full ability to forgive you. You've now opened to the door for forgiveness. And it works both ways. If the person sees that, damn, we had that conversation, you promised me this wouldn't happen again, we both had a understanding and agreement, and you broke the agreement, no, I don't have to forgive you.
Right.
So I think that's a good way of knowing when and when not someone should be forgiven for their mistakes, their transgressions, or any of the above.
So basically, what you had just mentioned just a second ago was the reassuring supposed to make the person who is seeking the forgiveness that he or she won't do the same act or similar act to the other individual again.
Correct.
Right. So it's reassuring that it won't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
However,
that's the verbal statement before action is taken.
Right. So that would be like the initial contract.
Right.
Right. I'm assuring you that this is not going to happen again because I acknowledged it. I recognize that it has hurt you or harmed you in some sort of way. And for that reason, I will not do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Contract sealed, signed, delivered. Right? All right. Now, that is all great until another situation occurs. Whether
Correct.
it be the same act or something, maybe just as bad or, what have you. When pretty much the same person has done you wrong on multiple occasions. How many times do I have to forgive you for not the same thing, because you reassured me that that wasn't going to happen, but now you turn around and did something else.
Right.
Now,
and I just want to point out the forgiveness. That's not for the person that did said person wrong. That's not the forgiveness isn't for them. It's for the person that was the victim in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, man, that has to be explained as well. Because you could do something to me once, and I can forgive you for it. But if you do something to me again, depending on how remorseful you are, if you are feeling remorseful, but I don't want to go down the same road of trying to explain to you again what I feel based upon what it is that you do. At some point, you should know who I am.
All right.
At some point, you should know my history, my reputation, and whether or not that history and reputation confirms that what I do in the present has proof that I will do something similar or the same in the present that I did already in my past. Understand? So if I have a history of forgiveness, sometimes people will use that to their own advantage. You understand? Because you forgave me so many times prior. Now that when I do something, presently or in the future, I can get the same response. I expect the same response to you forgive me.
All right.
And again,
that's why I wanted to bring up the AER, because it's saying I'm sorry and that's it. It's not enough, right?
Right.
So I bring up the AER for people to use, as a guide for when someone does come to them with an apology. And if you're wondering, man, was that apology genuine or not? Well, you can look at it like this. Well, did they acknowledge, empathize, and reassure with me? Or when I came to them with the situation, did they not acknowledge? Did they retwist what I was trying to tell them? Did they not try to empathize with me? Did they not tell me in the future that it wasn't going to happen again, give me a resolution and reassurance? And that's a good way to gauge, if the apology is genuine or not.
Or they argue with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? They say, oh,
right,
Trey, well, if you didn't do this, if you just did this, then you're not
right,
being
because that's an escalation. That's not a de-escalation of the situation.
Right.
And that's why I love the AER method, because essentially what it does, it de-escalates situation. It's a escalation, a situation de-escalator.
Right.
So essentially, a lot of they use it in mental behavior therapy. When I was working as the RBT at the time, because you're dealing with individuals whose emotions are less stable in comparison to the rest of the community. So when you wrong them, you really you gotta mean it. You gotta mean the apology. And you have to come off genuine. You can't come off genuine and not be genuine. You have to be genuine. So guys, this isn't something new. This the AER method. It's so productive. It's used in exactly. It's used in mental behavior therapy. Businesses use it in regards to like guest complaints, for example.
It's sort of
I definitely suggest adding it to your personal life as well. When dealing with people,
it's a definite must have, and it's a must do. You know what I mean? As far as anybody seeking forgiveness for anything that they have done wrong to somebody else. I know if I've done anybody wrong, whether in my past, I try to atone for what I've done and what I've done to physically hurt or harm somebody. But when I was getting to the point where if you know the person or the individual, that means you know their heart, you know their spirit. You know what I mean? And for somebody who has a forgiving heart, like I said, sometimes people can take advantage of that. Right. And by doing you wrong, purposely,
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's why I brought up the AER, because it protects those type of individuals that put their heart first. It requires you to take your heart out of the way and go down this checklist of requirements of a standard that you have for when someone does you wrong. And I don't care if you have the biggest heart in the world. If someone does you wrong and they don't come to you with forgiveness in this manner, they don't check off the checklist of the AER method, that wasn't, you know what I'm saying? You can have the biggest heart in the world, but don't be a fool. Don't be anyone's fool.
Right.
You know?
Right. And nor just take what that person is giving you and they expect you to match that, energy, enthusiasm, because somebody who did you wrong takes a step forward. That doesn't mean you have to say, okay, he's, he or she is seeking my forgiveness now. Everything is great. Everything is back to the way it used to be. No, it's not that quite simple. You know what I mean? Especially if the wrong was done in a malicious way, or in a way where it was intended to be one way, when everybody has their own interpretations, right? Everybody has their own perspective. So because your perspective or your interpretation of what I did caused you to feel and think a certain way about me, you cannot automatically accept that as truth unless you talk to me. And then from talking to me, now you have a clear cut, understanding of where I'm coming from, and did I have the intention of harming, hurting, or dissing you? Okay.
All right.
We gotta seek the intentions of that other individual before we take on the emotional of, oh, I'm angry with this person. Oh, I'm pissed off. Oh, I want to hurt this guy. Oh, I want to hurt this sister. Know exactly where that person's heart is. Know where they're coming from. Because everybody doesn't have the same perspective as you do. And everybody doesn't operate intentionally the way you may think that they are operating intentionally. You know what I mean? We have to be careful with that. You know what I'm saying? We have to check your heart. You know what I mean? And when I was bringing up the reputation, our reputation carries us and follows us. Do I have a history and reputation of lying, cheating, stealing, manipulating, hurting, dividing, causing mischief in all walks of life? Do I have that track record? Do I carry a record of creating beef, starting drama, running off friends because of the things I may say about them and do to them that they felt that I did to them wrong? Do I create more enemies or friends? You know what I mean? And that comes with your track record. And now when you are accused of doing something to somebody wrong, or you did somebody wrong, somebody felt like what you did to them was wrong, now your past is checked. Do you have a history of doing this sort of thing? You see what I'm saying? You just can't make up something like an accusation, but I don't have nothing in my background that proves what you're saying is more than likely for me to do based on my past. I don't have a history of hurting people intentionally. I don't have a history of robbing and stealing from people. A history. You know what I mean? Have I taken something from somebody before? Yes. Have I tried to atone for it? Yes. Have I done it again? No. You see what I'm saying? So even though we may have done wrong in our past, is it a consistent thing? Now I'm doing something wrong to somebody else, just like I did somebody wrong over here. Now I'm applying that same, response or action to this individual. You know what I mean? If everywhere you go, you got to seek forgiveness from multiple people, you have to check that person and watch them and look at their background. You know, your background says it all. Your background says a lot. You know, I think we talked about this before. You know what I mean? When the sister was apologetic to her children's father for accusing him of molestation. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he didn't want to forgive her right away. That's his right. You know what I mean? Because he gave a specific reason. It's not genuine. You know what I mean? I don't feel like your apology is genuine. You know? Having a meeting place, if you have a conflict with somebody and you contact that person and say, hey, look, you know, I want you to meet me somewhere so we can talk, then you can get a more genuine feeling that this person is being real about what they want to do as far as find retribution and you know, remorse and forgiveness. But if you are somewhere and you happen to run into somebody, the person that did you wrong, and they, you know, say, hey, what's up? And come shake your hand or something like that, that's not the place for you to say, oh, he's looking for my forgiveness now. Let me go, you know, and give it to him. If all he wanted to do was shake your hand and that's it, then that was his choice. That wasn't something, or her choice. That wasn't something in which you guys planned and met together. You know what I mean? To come to a peaceful resolution. You know what I mean? There's certain circumstances in which, you know, people take advantage of because they didn't plan it. And because it's an opportunity, oh, I'm gonna take this opportunity versus let me just call this person on the phone that I did wrong and set up a meeting place with them. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so forgiveness shouldn't be expected.
Right.
Forgiveness should be seen as a gift,
right.
As a blessing. So it really, honestly, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't really even put yourself in the position where you're really looking for forgiveness.
Right. In the first place. Don't even
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can't, like I said, you can't dictate somebody else's healing process. You know what I mean? I'm not ready to heal from that wound that you gave me. Just because you're ready to say you're willing to put it behind you. Well, that's you.
Right. And I just want to say this. The person that is able to give the forgiveness out has the option to never forgive. But speaking on that, I just want to speak to people that are in the situation of trying to decide whether to forgive somebody or not. I would suggest you do. And again, you can forgive someone, and you know what I'm saying, you don't have to, wherever the relationship was before, it doesn't have to continue. You can forgive them and never see them again. Because I say that because the forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you to heal from. Because I think a big issue that I've noticed with people, and I've been I've partaken in this behavior as well, is holding on to the grudge to that person and its effects, because it actually stifles the person that's holding on to that forgiveness, because a lot of times what we can do is hold a grudge on to somebody else that, you know what I'm saying, we have an issue with somebody else, and because we went through that issue and experience with that person, and we may move on, but essentially we start discarding or looking at other people differently based on what someone else did to you. And I just want to say that, like, essentially, you don't ever want to have whatever someone else has said to you, done to you, to affect how you treat other people as well.
Right.
The saying, I think, goes like, don't bleed on the on people that didn't cut you.
Right.
So
Good teaching.
I say that to say forgiveness is a process of healing, and that healing goes to the person that was hurt. So I encourage people to, you know what I'm saying, forgive. I mean, if the situation, I believe you should always forgive, but you don't have to go back to how the relationship was. Like, you can forgive and move on from that person, never speak to them or see them again. But I still believe that you should forgive, because you don't want to be that person that essentially, when people interact with you, you're still carrying that hurt on you. You're getting your blood on other people that had nothing to do with it, and that can actually ruin relationships that you have in the future.
Ruin or even prevent a relationship from blossoming.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There are people who are using family, using children against family, for whatever direct anger issue that they have. You know what I mean? And once you start implementing your influence into children, as far as your emotions towards another adult, and you start inflicting that same emotional pain onto children who will have nothing to do with your personal direct issue you have with the other individual, that's dead wrong. And there is no excuse for that. So,
right.
If you're seeking or so, if you felt like you've been wronged by somebody, talk. Get that person's, interpretation of their intentions and the pain that you are feeling, because it may not have been inflicted intentionally. So we don't all do things deliberately to hurt people. Sometimes we just do things because that's what we choose to do, not thinking that we're harming anybody. You know what I mean? But if you find offense to anything that is said or that we do or somebody does, get to the nit about where that person was thinking and where their heart was in that decision making that they made to do something that affected you. You know what I mean? Always. It's like reading text messages. You know what I'm saying? We all input our own emotion in the words that we are reading from individuals that we're communicating with through texting. You know what I'm saying? No. If you're not listening to my tone or don't hear any of these words that are coming out of my mouth, you're just reading them, then it's not me applying whatever emotion that you are feeling based off of your reading my words. It is you who is applying that emotion to those words, but I don't need them to sound like the way you're taking them. So if you are confused, call me so we can talk and you can hear my tone. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was gonna say was the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. So to prevent hurt people from hurting people, heal yourself, and to heal yourself, you gotta be willing to forgive. So I just wanted to touch bases on what the topic was for today. Forgiveness, is it something that should always be welcomed? And our stance is depending on the circumstance. If the person's intent was wrong, if their apology lacks doesn't stem from a genuine place. And also if they have a history of this kind of behavior,
Right.
we believe that person does not deserve forgiveness. However, again, the forgiveness is not really for that person. It's really for the person that was affected by. And so for that person, we tell you, please forgive. Not for them necessarily if it doesn't warrant, if they don't really warrant it, but you should still do so for your own well-being.
Absolutely. Agree, son.
All right, Pops. Anything else you want to touch bases on today before we get out of here?
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, we're already at almost at a minute 30, minute 15.
Hour 30. Yeah. Well, I'll just say this, man. This
It's a
has
great
been this is what has been one of the best first weeks of anything that I've ever done.
Awesome, Pops.
You know what I mean? I enjoy this. I enjoy this time with you. I enjoyed, speaking our thoughts and our, words onto this YouTube channel and this platform. This is just week one, man. Hopefully sky's going to be the limit and beyond. So have a good weekend, everybody.
Yes, sir. We're having a blast doing this. And like you said, Pops, this has been a very interesting and exciting experience for the both of us. And hopefully for our viewers as well, you guys tuning in. Hopefully we're doing our job in providing you guys with a unique insight that we've promised. So yeah, that's TwoTreys podcast for today. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Make a donation to the channel, in the description box below. Pop Trey, I think he's having a little bit of issues getting in and out, but let me go ahead and add him back in real quick, guys.
I'm back. Sorry.
Hey, Pops, I was just no, you're good. I'm just leaving them on the last notes of the show.
Okay.
I will be playing actually one of my beats. In this beat, I'll be coming out. Excuse me. I'll be actually coming out with a song for it here soon. Actually, it's almost done. Actually, if anything, just gotta do the mastering part. But I just wanted to, leave a little Easter egg for people. So for at the end of the show, I'll be playing a beat to get us out of here. Anything else you want to add, Pops?
Nah, man. I think we covered everything that we wanted to cover for the day. But again, in the future, we're gonna have our some guests. Watch out for the new time slots. Sometimes we want to be going, live in the evening because we understand that a lot of people are at work and they're not able to get on live while they're at work at this time. So we just want to have the opportunity of reaching people that's able to log on and view this live in person, so they can join in on the chat, leave some comments, interact with us. You know what I mean? We know we don't have all the answers, but we try to use our best sound judgment and minds to come up with a common peaceful resolution.
Yes, sir. Like you said, Pop Trey, we're gonna definitely have some interesting guests. Get into some topics, and be able to give their point of view. And also, we'll have guests that are gonna be promoting what they do, because we're gonna definitely have some business owners, entrepreneurs, artists, creators on the channel. So stay tuned for that. And with that, we're out. It's been a great episode of TwoTreys podcast. This is episode 5.
Episode 5.
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that music for you guys pulled up, right. And y'all have a blessed rest of your day. Love you too, Pops. Assalamu alaikum.
Blake Salam.